Today on the Morning Edition, it's the day after Election Day, and we have the latest numbers on all the elections to share with you. Find out what's trending to pass, what's trending to fail, and who you may be seeing on the Assembly. Plus, several people woke up to a shooting on Bragaw Tuesday morning, one that included a foot chase, gunfire, and a K-9 takedown. But thankfully, police say no one was actually shot. We'll bring you the latest on that situation. And later, this young boy has a plethora of artistic talent, and now there's a chance he might get some of his work in a museum, appear on television, and more. We'll take a look at some of his masterpieces as the Morning Edition starts now. Good Wednesday morning, everyone. Thanks for waking up with us today, this day after Election Day, and it's pretty wet out there, Aaron.
Yeah, for the first time in quite some time, we're waking up with many, if not all, areas of South Central sitting above freezing. In fact, some areas are already sitting at 40 degrees. And with that lingering precip that we still have across South Central, that is falling in the form of some light rain showers. Now, as temperatures kind of briefly drop near freezing through parts of South Central this morning, we could see some localized areas of wintry mix. But as far as those temperatures across South Central, you can see 39 degrees in Palmer, 36 in Soldotna. We're at 41 degrees in Homer. And then as you head across the Copper River Basin and eastern parts of Prince William Sound, those temperatures are sitting at or above freezing for most locations. The cool spot, though, Golconda coming in at 31 degrees. But we are still holding on to some rain across South Central. Some pockets of some wintry mix will be embedded within parts of South Central. In fact, if you're heading through the pass this morning, you may encounter some of that light flurry activity, if not a rain-snow mix, as we are warm enough. But you can see most locations have been holding on to that light rain, if not drizzle, through the overnight hours. And that is leading to some additional melting. So you will still encounter some slick spots across parts of South Central. Of course, as you head out towards southeast, we've got those temperatures in the 30s, mid to upper 30s. And we're also going to be watching this system that's been impacting South Central. That's going to shift east and bring the return to some rain as well as a rain-snow mix for the Panhandle as we welcome in your rest of your Wednesday on into Thursday. In fact, widespread activity will build back in across southeast as we close the door on this weekend. So be prepared for that. Now, temperatures across South Central today will top out once again in the 40s. We'll hold on to that showery activity. One thing we're going to be watching, any lingering showers we have into the night as those temperatures drop back down into the lower 30s will lead to a transition to wintry mix, if not some light flurry activity. But we'll still see some dry time for inland locations. I'll have more on that 7-day forecast coming up.
It is the morning after Election Day, and more than 200,000 ballots were sent out to residents of Anchorage. We'll break down the first batch of numbers, but first, what was on the ballot? 6 assembly seats, 3 of which will be filled by new members, as those incumbent seat holders are either term limited or chose not to run again, and 3 with incumbents defending their seats. 2 school board seats are also open, as current board members are term limited and cannot run again, and there are also 12 ballot propositions. Voter turnout this year is running ahead of last year at this time, due in part to higher voter turnout overall, election officials say. The polls closed at 8 p.m. last night, and election workers have shifted from checking in voters to counting ballots and working on any fixes needed, such as curing signatures.
Voters have until 4 p.m. on April 23rd to cure their signatures. So there is a little bit of time, but we want to have it returned and cured as soon as possible.
Now, curing is the process in which the election officials can correct a mismatched signature on the back of your ballot. So far, the city has sent out about 300 of the notices called cure letters, which Edwards said is fewer than last year. Of those, about 100 have been returned. Now, just a quick reminder, this is just the first round of preliminary numbers and not official. Looking at Assembly Seat B, Sydney Scout is leading here. This seat was held by Chris Constant. And just a quick side note, looking at the graphics, our computer adds the percentage up to equal 100%. That percentages that the Muni put out add up based on how many ballots were cast. But since some people don't vote in every race, some of the Muni's percentages don't add up to 100%. Now, Assembly Seat G is pretty close over here so far, with less than 100 votes separating separating Dave Donnelly and Janice Park, currently each sitting with more than 3,100. The third candidate, Kim Winston, has 255 votes. Here's a quick look at some of the other Assembly seat races. For Assembly Seat C, Scott Meyer's seat, Donald Handerlid is currently in the lead over Kyle Walker. For Seat E, incumbent Anna Brawley is leading ahead of challenger Brian Flynn. For Seat I, incumbent George Martinez is in the lead over Cody Anderson. And Assembly Seat K, incumbent Zach Johnson is up over his two challengers, Bruce Ferguson and Janelle Anasuk Sharp. Moving over to the propositions. Prop 1 is for providing capital improvements to the Anchorage School District. It is currently, as you can see, very close with just over 100 votes separating the yeas and nays. And then here we have Prop 2. Those are for improving roads and drainage. If passed, property owners within the service area will see a tax increase of more than $8 for $100,000 in assessed value with an annual increase. It's passing right now with 61% of the vote. Prop 3 is for capital improvements to Parks and Rec. 56% saying yes so far for that. Prop 4 aimed at funding improvements to Anchorage Police Department buildings. It's a tight one, but 51% so far saying yes to that one. Prop 5, community facilities, looking to pass with 54% of the votes. Prop 6 for public safety improvements, including new replacement ambulances, seems to be passing so far. Prop 7 to replace aging fire trucks is passing so far. Prop 8 for improvements to Basher Trailhead and other Chugach State Park access points is tight, but passing so far. And Prop 9, that Anchorage School District tax levy to fund teacher positions and student programming, is very tight, but seems to be passing by a 1% margin. Moving on to School Board Seat C, Rachel Blakesley is leading over Alexander Rosales, and Seat D, Paul McDonough leading over Sharon Gibbons and Dustin Darden. And a reminder, these are all just preliminary numbers. There are many votes still left to be counted, so head on over to our website for a full breakdown and the latest updates. Meantime, a person hospitalized after a chaotic scene in Anchorage Tuesday involving a foot chase, canine takedown, and shots fired. Here's the scene on the 700 block of Bragaw Street, where police got a report that someone inside the home was violent and had a gun. The person inside said the suspect was armed. APD says that suspect then ran away from police and shots were fired. Police say that who fired their weapon is under investigation. APD says no one was hit or injured by the gunshots. Police say they found the suspect nearby, which led to a struggle during which a canine was used to get the suspect into custody. Police Chief Sean Case released a video statement on the situation.
At approximately 3 a.m. this morning, our dispatch center received a 911 call reporting a disturbance with a weapon. The call originated from an apartment complex located at the 700 block of North Bragaw. The victim reported being choked and advised that there was an infant child in the residence and that the suspect had access to guns. No one was injured by gunfire during this incident. The victim and her child are safe. The suspect was taken into custody, and all of our responding officers are going home to their families.
In a separate officer-involved shooting investigation, a man who was shot during a situation with a Bethel police officer has been arrested in Anchorage. Monday, 53-year-old Wasili Larson was taken into custody on 2 counts of third-degree assault. The Alaska Bureau of Investigation says the arrest comes from an investigation that was already in progress before the March 25th officer-involved shooting. That's when Bethel police say Larson pulled a knife on them when they told him to stop standing in the road. An officer shot him, and Larson was taken to the hospital for treatment. In Fairbanks this past weekend, it marked the end of the curling season, but not all curlers are done with the fun. Adrian Peterson went to the International Bonspiel and caught up with those coming back from competitions and others who will continue to compete elsewhere.
You might take the ice for the ocean, as Pirates, Gilligan, and even SpongeBob can be seen at the Fairbanks Curling Club. It's all part of an end-of-season competition known as the International Bonspiel. A fun and final gathering for those who once more await winter. Beneath the costumes lies considerable competition in its own right. people like former Olympian Vicky Persinger were part of the fun too.
Especially if you've done some competitive curling, this is just an event where everyone's here to have a good time. You know, there's costumes and late night draws.
It's also a time to celebrate success as one of the teams took third place at the club nationals.
It's been a while since Alaska has won a medal at this event, so it feels good for us to refresh that and prove that Alaska still can compete on that level and you know, earn a place.
The last time the club took home a medal in that competition was in 2017. But for some of the folks here at the Spiel, the season isn't over yet.
Coleman and I are in a week and a half headed to mixed nationals with two of the women from our clubs, another girl and a coach. And so we still have one more national event to compete in. So we're looking forward to that in Denver.
While Persinger's team won the Spiel at the club, those that continued their season set their eyes on triumph elsewhere. And for the club itself, the end of the Spiel means the end of the ice until next winter. Adrian Peterson, Alaska's news source.
Still ahead today in the morning edition, breakup season is in full swing. Ice is breaking apart, roads are a mess. It is impossible to keep your car clean. And there's huge puddles and flooding concerns, of course. We'll take a look at a community center in Eagle River, and I'm sure would like to take a break from breakup season. Next.
And those temperatures continue to warm across the state. While we're still cold along the slope, we see rapid warming into Thursday. We're still seeing persistent rain showers across South Central. We'll have more on that. First at sunrise, 6:59 in Anchorage, 6:47 in Bragaw.
Welcome back in. 14 minutes past the hour on this Wednesday morning. Aaron, we are in the 40s. It is all melty outside. It is wet.
Yeah, and those temperatures each afternoon certainly feel nice, but that is leading to that breakup across South Central. We're seeing many of those parking lots, sidewalks, and side roads becoming more, being able to see the ground underneath as that melting continues to take place. Now, we do have some lingering areas of rain and snow across South Central, which will stay with us throughout the day. And then one thing we're going to be watching as we welcome in tomorrow is rapid warming along the slope. We're in the single digits today. By tomorrow, we're going to see temperatures along the slope potentially warm into the 20s and the 30s as we see strong southerly flow build into the slope. Now, we still have this area of low pressure out towards Bristol Bay, Kuskokwim Delta. That is leading to some lingering precip that continues to taper off. Most of what we're dealing with is across South Central. You can see widespread rain out towards Prince William Sound. As you head across the Kenai and into the valley, we've got primarily rain, but as temperatures are dropping into the low to mid 30s, we are seeing some pockets of some wintry mix this morning, but we've largely been holding on to some light rain showers through the overnight hours. And just within the last 24 hours, this is very light accumulation that we have seen. 507 inch in Anchorage, 207 inch in Talkeetna, out towards Portage Glacier. We've seen upwards of 4/10 of an inch of that rain accumulation. So it's been very light, and we're going to continue to hold on to that as we head throughout the day. And one thing we're going to be watching, notice inland areas of South Central, while we are holding on to a light rain, if not some wintry mix this morning, that kind of backs off as we head into the afternoon hours, more so across the Kenai and then out towards Prince William Sound. So we will see, much like yesterday, more dry time to be expected as we head into the afternoon hours. And then overnight into tomorrow, we will dry out for all of South Central as that rain shifts out towards the Panhandle as we welcome in your Wednesday evening and Thursday. Now, by week's end, we will be watching this frontal system sweeping across the Alaska range. I think most of that moisture will be squeezed out over the mountains before it makes its way to South Central. Should we see anything, it'll be very, very light accumulation to be expected as we welcome in the close of this week. But as far as the rest of today and on into your Thursday, you can see the heaviest rainfall will stay confined to coastal areas. We'll see anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to about 3/4 of an inch of rain as you head across eastern parts of Prince William Sound. And again, you can see as you head for inland locations, we're just going to see some of that light drizzle activity, largely on the dry side, but we will see some additional melting taking place. So more of those puddles will form on those roadways as we welcome in the rest of, really the rest of this week on into the weekend. Temperatures today across the state warming into the 30s and the 40s. We did officially break into the 40s yesterday for Fairbanks. I'll have that look for you, or that statistics for you, because it's one of the third longest stretches that Fairbanks did see with those temperatures below 40 degrees. We're in the single digits along the slope, but those temperatures do warm as we welcome in your Thursday. You can see that 7-day forecast continuing to maintain that hold on the 40s, while overnight lows kind of flirt with that freezing mark. So we are still up under that freeze-thaw pattern, and each morning, we could still see some of those isolated pockets of thin film of ice on the roadways, and that will likely stay with us until breakup really exits South Central.
All right, thanks, Aaron. And as the breakup season ramps up, so are the reports of flooding in some areas. Georgina Fernandez shows us how one community gathering spot is dealing with all that water.
That crunch underneath your feet is the sound of breakup season, leaving behind a splashing mess.
This is worse.
As everything starts to melt,
okay, I'm gonna get stuck right here.
It's making it hard to get around, especially for folks at the sanctuary of Eagle River, where their front entrance is engulfed by water.
This is bigger, deeper. It came on much more suddenly. Yeah.
Paul Derek Seagraff says it's a problem they've seen the last 4 to 5 years. Water draining off the hill and into their parking lot.
We have actually had to cancel services before because people just weren't feeling safe to come through.
As April brings in longer days and warmer temps, it can leave behind problem spots like this.
Now, this water is cold and still icy. You can actually hear the ice crunching underneath you. And they say at the deep spot, this is probably around 3 feet deep, and I actually could feel water right out going to my boots. So definitely not fun conditions to be walking in or even driving around in.
Right now, Seagrave says a big part of his team's time is spent making sure the property is safe and functional.
We're always thinking, is the parking lot flooded? Are the doors going to be able to open?
As they, like the rest of us, wait for the snowmelt to finally end. Georgina Fernandez, Alaska's news source.
Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.